Hello, it's your Daily Dose with Danica. Today's Daily Dose is brought to you by the letter F. Let's review, shall we, class? A is for what you feed your mind determines your appetite. B is for belief, also Bible, because what you feed your mind determines your appetite, and what you get hungry for becomes your belief. What you feed your mind becomes your belief. What's C? Anyone remember? Communication, change, choice. There were a lot of them. What you feed your mind determines your appetite and becomes your belief. And your beliefs become what you communicate. And what you believe determines how easy it is for you to change and determines your choices. And then D, what did we talk about for D? Did we talk about Danica or daily doses? What did we talk about? Decisions. What you feed your mind determines your appetite. Your appetite, what you feed your mind determines your beliefs, because the more you have, the more you believe it, the more you set those in stone. So then what you believe becomes your choices, how you communicate, and how willing you are to change. And then I believe there was more for D, right? What we decide, choices and decisions are about the same. I'll have to review. It's been a long day. I do remember E though. It's for your eyes and your ears and for enjoyment. Because when we take time to see things differently and listen to hear rather than listen to respond or to be heard, actually, when we listen to hear rather than be heard, life starts changing and taking on new meanings, especially when we start with the building blocks, with your input. And so, what do you think the letter F is going to be? Let's make it faith and over fear. There's the phrase, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. Has there been a time in your life when you were so terrified of something, you had talked yourself right into not wanting to do something because of all the what ifs and oh my gosh, this and that? As a matter of fact, I know someone, we'll call him Lyle. Lyle had never flown in his life. He had a meeting in Florida that he was going to have it wasn't even that long of a flight. He was going to have to fly from Pittsburgh to Florida, an hour and a half. He's 30-something years old. For 30 years had convinced himself flying was the most terrifying thing ever. He was going to die on a plane. He wasn't going to be able to breathe anything. He even made stuff up. He was so terrified to fly. Got on the plane, was in Florida in an hour and a half, didn't have to drive for 32 hours. He's like, oh, that's pretty great. I'm ready to do this again. You have nothing to fear but fear itself. And the fear comes from the stories we tell ourselves or that we've heard from other people and we believe that's going to happen to us. But when we have faith in someone who cares deeply, who has your best interests at heart, who will never let anything happen to you that will hurt you, who will just be that person for you, then really where do we have anything to fear? Will times get challenging? Sure. But will we grow through it? Absolutely. And then we learn what love really is. And that's from having faith in someone beyond ourselves. When we trust someone, and I've learned to really depend on and have faith in the fact that God is who he says he is and will always do what he's always done and will never change. But I've practiced that. I didn't always believe it, but I had to change my input, which determined my attitude and appetite, which changed my beliefs, which changed the way I communicated and made choices and made changes, and then changed Danica. And then it changed the way I saw and heard things with my eyes and my ears, and made faith far more fun than fear. There's a story Tony Evans tells about how, it's Dr. Tony Evans or Pastor Evans. I don't mean to be disrespectful. He tells about this one time this guy falls over a cliff and he's hanging by a branch, right? There's nothing but air for a good, 800 feet below him, and he's hanging on to this branch that he was able to catch. And he hears this voice from above that says, "Do you trust me?" He's like, yeah, I trust you. Of course I do. Do you believe that I'm going to save you? Yes, just save me. I believe you're going to save. Do you believe that I want to save you? The voice from above says. He says, the guy hanging on for literally dear life was like, yes, I believe that you want to save me. He says, do you want me to save you? Of course I want you to save me. Do you think that I want to die like this? Go 800 feet down and just, no, I want you to save me. He goes, do you trust me? Yes, I told you I trust you. So the voice from above says, great, then let go. And the guy who was hanging on says, is there anyone else up there? Aren't we like that? A lot of times, we say that we trust in many things. We usually put our trust in what we have experience with. When someone has proven themselves, or, when I sit down, I trust that this chair is going to hold me up. Or when I put my food on a plate, that the plate's going to hold my food. I trust gravity. I don't really go to bed thinking, oh no, what if I wake up and gravity doesn't work? What am I going to do? You just trust the laws of nature. God is the law of love. And when you study it for yourself and you put aside the misrepresentatives of him, you start seeing things and hearing things so much differently. It builds your faith and it eliminates your fear. And that's when life gets fun. Funner. It gets gooder. It does get enjoyable. And isn't that what we're really all searching for and really eager to find out, if life is really enjoyable? Because up to this point, has it been that great? Sometimes temporarily, but when our faith is in things that we can see and touch that are what's the opposite of permanent? Temporary. Then we get disappointed. But when we put our faith in something that is time tested, the game starts changing. And it gets fun. Who doesn't want to have fun? And I forgot to mention for B Day, B is for bubbles. We're going to go play with bubbles one day on the playground of the possible. Let's do it. Will you meet me there? I know bubbles are the best. So today, I want you to think about a time when you were terrified of something, Maybe it was when COVID started, when you were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How's this going to work out? And you just made it through a day and made it through another day, and then it got easier, and then it got easier, and then things started shifting, and you're like, here I am at the end of this already, and we made it. We're closer as a family. Oh, one of my other favorite F words. Family. I love talking about family. Family doesn't always necessarily mean related by blood. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. And there's just so much that can change. Sometimes it's forced. We talked about that, another F word. And sometimes it's a choice that you make because you have to do it. So think about those times that you were terrified to do something and it actually wasn't as bad. It was like Lyle flying to Florida. Now he flies everywhere because why would you want to drive? That'll be our new tagline, fly like Lyle. So think about it and just really, write it down and write down what lessons you've learned from it as well. And do it as a family. Be like, hey guys, remember a time when we thought this was going to happen? And, we may not have talked about it, but let's talk about it now. Let's have a conversation now. And just talk about the ways, the different perspectives of things, because, your kids aren't going to have the worries of, like, the bills to get paid. They're going to think about something else, and that'll be a good communication project, because then you can understand what your kids' perspectives are from their world and their language. And they can understand you a little bit more too. And that'll just bring cohesion. That's a big word that starts with C. And then you can start just really just getting more relational with the people who are closest to you. And then you just start changing your legacy. Because what you instill in your children now become their instincts later. What you instill in your children now becomes their instincts later. Think about it. That's what happened with you. And it's never, ever, ever too late to do something different. So if you would need some help looking beyond your situation or your circumstances, because sometimes they're real and they're real big, know that you have someone to reach out to who is so eager to come alongside you and help you push away the weeds and interpret for you. I'm really good at teen talk, and I can help interpret for the kids too. Parent talk, that's a fun job. It's not even a job, that's fun. Just however I can support you in whatever challenges you have going on. I'm your girl. Y'all know how to get a hold of me. Email, phone, website, all that. But the main thing is, let's just have a conversation so that you know that you're safe, that you don't really have to do life alone, and a place where you can feel understood. That's really what it's all about, because that changes everything. So that we can get rid of the fear and start having fun. I'll talk to you soon. God bless. Peace.